Tell us this Clemson on the clock story.
Yeah, everybody always bring that up. That's one of my all-time favorite memories.
You're an avatar. You look at my physical appearance and you're intimidated. You watch me run and you're like, oh my gosh.
And I remember the whole offensive sideline was like, oh, yeah, you're not ready for this. This what college is. Oh, going crazy.
Keep going. Ain't nobody catching that, dude.
Yeah, if I caught that ball, I knew I was gone.
All right, cool. Nobody's talking about us. Let's make them talk about us.
The love you get in the city, it's a different type of love at Carolina, man. It's a different type of love. The fans are diehard fans.
We got a cool one for you guys this week. Know you've been a little bit all over the place. We've done basketball, baseball, but we're back to our bread and butter. We're back to football, baby.
Oh yeah.
And this guest did not disappoint during his 3 years at Carolina, but definitely didn't disappoint 2 weeks ago when he absolutely obliterated the combine.
I mean, they're putting that up there with DK Metcalf as far as combine performances. He made himself some money, as we've talked about.
Yes, he did, and he's a great kid. Was a great player here, local Columbia boy. So I mean, we can't say enough about him. I mean, from just his time here at Carolina and then our conversation, he's Carolina through and through. He had chances to leave. He stuck around.
And he said that several times too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, stepping in, it was crazy how mature he was, and how mature he was when he came to college. I mean, he was a 3-star, very under recruited. Came in with just a confidence and a swagger about himself. That, I mean, you could tell he still carries today. So I think it's going to continue to catapult him going forward with his career.
No doubt. And you were there. You were working with the team, right? So
Yeah,
you've known him for a while.
Yeah, Nick's awesome. Nick, we did some philanthropic stuff, some community service events, and Nick was at every single one of them. Nick was always a yes sir, no sir kid, always willing to serve. So extremely excited for what's in store for him in the future. And like he said, he's going to take me to a nice steak dinner here. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, he invited me at the very end, so I may have to sneak up there for that one.
Yep. But I think everybody's really going to enjoy this episode. Nick's it could go down as one of the all-time greats at Carolina, and rightfully so. And I'm expecting him to have an incredible NFL career. So it's going to be exciting to watch him grow as a player and watch him continue to develop. I mean, the intangibles are all there. You saw how much better he got throughout his time at Carolina, and now if he gets in the right system in the NFL, I mean, I think sky's the limit.
No doubt, no doubt. You could tell even through the interview, like he's still hungry. He wants to get better. He wants to improve, and you don't see that very often with guys that just crush the combine like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very entertaining one for all Gamecock fans. What sport you like, doesn't matter. Nick kind of was a straight shooter and told us about his experiences, the good, bad, and the ugly at Carolina, and everything that he went through at the combine. I mean, that was a big highlight of our interview, was just talking about that. So I think everybody's going to really enjoy this one. And don't forget, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, post, retweet, retweet, whatever they are. But do it to continue to build the brand. We're excited to continue to bring you guys some of the best content out there when it comes to Gamecock sports, and we're going to branch off and do some other stuff too. So we're just really excited to engage you guys and get the best guests on and tell the best stories, and just really here to entertain y'all.
Yep. We're just getting started still.
Home Team Barbecue is fired up to take care of your tailgate and watch party needs this season. Home Team is known for its smoked meats, creative daily specials, and twists on Southern classic. Smoked wings, ribs, pulled pork sliders, barbecue nachos, or classic sides like mac and cheese and collard greens are the perfect feast to fuel your game day. Round up your friends and give Home Team Catering a shout at catering@hometeambarbecue.com, or head to 5 Points for a frozen game changer cocktail and barbecue snacks to celebrate the next Gamecocks big win. Visit hometeambarbecue.com to check out the menu. Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Steel Hand Brewing in Casey has you covered. Whether you're craving a refreshing craft beer or just a great time with friends and family, Steel Hands has it all. With a variety of craft beers, spacious outdoor beer gardens, and a delicious food menu, there's something for everyone. Plus, join them for free live music every Thursday through Sunday. Visit steelhandsbrewing.com to see their lineup of upcoming events or host your own. Handforce and Casey and voted best local brewery again this year. Go visit steelhandsbrewing.com.
All right, you carnivores, we got a new sponsor, JCQ Farms, located off 177 Saluda Bluff Road in Batesburg, South Carolina. Huge Gamecock family, folks. So they have grass-fed beef, pasture-raised pork, and they have absolutely no antibiotics, no hormones, and all of the animals are treated humanely. They also practice regenerative farming. Right now, their top sellers are tomahawk ribeyes, cowboy ribeyes, fillets, bacon, and this primal ground beef mixture. It's heart, liver, and beef mix. If you're going to get any sort of meat, get it from here, folks.
All right, tailgaters, we are joined here by an absolute stud, one of Columbia's finest, born and bred, Gamecock great, about to make a huge impact on some NFL franchise here shortly. Man, appreciate you joining us.
Yep, man. Glad to be here, man.
Every time I pick up my phone and I'm looking at something sports, like your name comes across the board right now for what you just accomplished last week. I mean, you jumped 43 inches, you ran sub 4.4. You're an avatar. You absolutely crushed it. And super proud of you. I mean, and I think all Gamecock Nation knew that we were about to see the display that you had, but you showed it to the whole world. So congrats, man.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. It was a fun process. Combine, got there on Monday, did everything on Friday. So it was kind of like, had to wait the whole week. It was stressful a little bit, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. So I was just waiting for the reaction. So,
yeah, I mean, I think a big piece to that is like you, and credit to Coach Day and Coach Chip Morton, but they kind of put you guys through like an NFL combine during your off season, during your time in college. So you've kind of experienced the stress. You went through the drills. You kind of mastered it before you went out, and you did your training out in California. I imagine that's where you're at right now. Are you still training there?
Yeah, still training, but I'll be back on the East Coast doing some more like one-on-one.
Nick, where'd you train at out there?
The Mark. It's like a little, it's like a rooftop apartment building, seats only. So it was like a good little crew.
Yeah, bougie. That's that California life.
California life. It was real. California's a different place, man. It's a lot of.
Yeah, it is.
Great place to be, but the traffic was horrible. So I'm good with Columbia. 5 o'clock rush hour is nothing crazy, but out here you get stuck in traffic. You won't get home till 7, so kind of sucks. But
yeah, well, we know you'll end up back on the right coast when it's all said and done. But dude, let's dive into a little bit like your kind of recruiting path and what brought you to Carolina, because I was in the building when you committed and all that, but it like you were a late ad. You weren't committed for a year. Kind of a late bloomer. So tell us about kind of that experience and playing high school ball right here in Columbia and what that meant.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Coach White sent me a text my junior year summer going into my senior year, and he was just like, "Oh, we got our eyes on you as a staff." And the state of South Carolina as a whole is probably like a little bit under recruited. A lot of guys, go unnoticed and stuff. So I just fell right along into that narrative. But COVID kind of messed up my recruiting process, me not going out to camp. So a lot of things like impacted that a lot. But I remember Coach White sending me that text, and that's all I needed really to like get myself going. And I just remember I went to the camp. They wanted me to come out to camp and put on a great camp showing there, and they offered me on the spot. And then the rest was history, man. So I went up to Carolina, thankful and blessed for Coach Beamer, Coach White and them giving me an opportunity, and I just needed a platform because I knew my to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, as a 3-star, what schools were we competing with? I mean, obviously we're 20 minutes from where you grew up, so I imagine you were probably just waiting on it. But what other schools were you considering before we pulled the trigger?
Yeah, at the time, like right before signing day, I just remember a bunch of schools like trying to reach out to me and trying to like get flipped like a week or two before signing day. But before that, it was probably too late. But I was really competing. South Carolina was my only Power 5 offer, so I only had I had like UNC Charlotte, Georgia Southern, and some others like smaller schools. But it was
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, just because I have some intel because I was in the building, but I remember after you came and worked out at that camp, like there were conversations had about like, but he doesn't have all these big other offers. What are we missing here? What are we missing here? And Coach White was like, the Joker looks different and better than everybody else we have in the building. I don't give a shit if he doesn't have other offers. Like, I trust myself as a coach. I trust T. Gray. I trust the strength staff to develop this kid into the player I think he can be. And here we are 3 years later, and look at this stud.
yeah, man. I appreciate Coach White for that, man. I remember hearing that story. I'm not taking no shots at nobody, but it was a person in the building. He's not there anymore. He
Yeah.
doesn't work on it, but I heard he wasn't really too big on me when I went to my camp and did my little camp show. So it's crazy that Coach White took a chance on me, man, and just trusted his gut. I mean, He's right. I don't know how I would really want to know this. I was 6'3". I came into college like 211. I was fast on tape, so it was just one of those coincidences. I think 24/7 Sports, like, they just had something against me or something. Because I remember DM me on Twitter like back in high school. It was like, "Hey, bro, can you send me your highlights?" But COVID messed up. We didn't have like our first 3 games due to COVID, so I was like, I don't really have any clips to show you. So we never been in contact. Rated 3-star, and then that was the end of it. So
Yeah, man. COVID fucked up a lot of shit.
yeah.
I mean, you and I are pretty similar athletes. I think I was probably the same gauge, like a little under the radar. You look at my physical appearance and you're intimidated. You watch me run and you're like, oh my gosh, like, is he running or walking? But I mean, yeah, Nick, did you came in here as a freshman and made an immediate impact? You stepped in. We're playing on the defense, starting defense right away. We're a freshman All-American. You and your compadre DQ Smith really had a yin and a yang relationship. You guys felt off each other, play with each other. So yeah, you proved a lot of people wrong. And I think the credit to you of like kind of blocking out the noise in the background and saying like, man, I'm here. I got my opportunities. Time to go grind.
Yeah, man. It was, looking back, it was a crazy story. It almost seems like it could be in a movie or a documentary, but came in as a freshman. I always knew I was going to play. I always knew I had the talent to play, but like that learning curve from high school to college, it was a little bit of not a challenge, but it was like something new. Like, like plays and like learning like every little all the little details and stuff. So Coach Gray and Coach White, they did a great job. And then first year, Jalen Foster, he was the previous year, so it was like I got an All-American in my corner, a DB coach that coached a lot of NFL dudes, and a DC that has a lot of trust in me, and it was a great time. I look back on it, probably one of the my freshman year is probably like one of the greatest like times of my life, maybe like as far as like learning and going through learning pains and growing pains, and a lot of lifelong friends from that year, so it was cool.
Nick, do you feel like since you were kind of under recruited that you used that as like a chip on your shoulder?
Nah.
When you got to Columbia?
Nah, I never really thought anything about it because, like, I mean, it's a bunch of dudes that are 5 stars or whatever, and like,
Yeah.
I didn't look like I was different from them, or like I thought I was better than any 5-star or any dude that came across. I didn't look down on myself at all. So I knew I was a dude in my head. It didn't matter how many stars I had or how many rankings I had. And I remember a team meeting. I don't know if you're in there, Pat, but do you remember that meeting with Coach Day? And it was like the movie scene, or I'm not sure if you're in there. He brought me down in front of the whole team. I had no idea he was going to do it. And he was like just talking. I think he kind of spoke this into existence because I remember R.J. Roderick was the starting safety at the time. And he was like, before the season, he said, We're gonna need to depend on Nick at some point in the season. Who knows? RJ, you may get hurt first game of the season. We're gonna have to throw Nick into the fire. So we're gonna sometimes along those lines. And I remember it was kind of weird at first. I was like, why would he do that in front of the team? A lot of dudes gonna be looking down on me, hating on me and stuff. But ended up happening in real life. The first game of the season, first drive, it went down.
I think he set a precedent and kind of empowered you. I
Yeah.
mean, you came in with like an aura and a confidence. Like, there's some dudes that come in with like an arrogance where it's like they think they're better than everybody, but you came in and you carried yourself in such a professional manner and with such confidence that like guys flocked to you, whether they were older or younger. Like you just had like kind of an aura about you that like made everybody like, there's something about this guy that like I'm a ride with him. I mean, and I sensed it just in the building on staff. So, I mean, that's probably comes to your upbringing and having a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and your success in college and being comfortable and familiar here in Columbia. Like, there's a bunch of different dynamics, but like I was very proud of you for how you came in and carried yourself and made such impact. Now a word from our sponsor, Tony Pope at State Farm. Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights, we switch the TV channels, and some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Tony Pope, right here in South Carolina, can switch you over so you can start saving today. Tony and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. With Tony Pope, it's easy to switch and save. Just give him a call at 843-851-2222 or visit tonypope.com. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. We are proud to be sponsored by our buddies David Marshall and Shane Burrows and their law firm Lanier and Burrows. These guys are Gamecocks from undergrad through law school, and they bleed garnet and black. They practice all across South Carolina, helping people and families who have been injured or killed in car accidents, trucking accidents, work accidents, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence, basically any type of incident. Unfortunately, though, for Stephen, they don't really handle all that criminal stuff. If you or someone you know was injured, let Shane and David investigate it at no cost to you. They will get you answers and will let you know if they can help. They only get paid if they get you a recovery. Give Lanier and Burrows Law Firm a call at 803-268-9800. Gamecock fans, if you want to look your best, go swing by Granger Owings on Main Street or in the Trenton Plaza. Granger Owings strives to deliver the best-in-class customer service paired with the finest fashion. Their stylists truly cater to each customer, starting with a personalized consultation every time, and help each individual build a wardrobe based on their lifestyle needs, occasions, and preferences. At Granger Owings, you will find the latest from classic, up-and-coming, designer brands of clothing and shoes for men and women, from business attire to custom clothing to sportswear, weekend wear, and formal wear. They dress their customers for every occasion.
I'll tell you what, Nick, man, a funny story talking about like 5 stars. Pat, do you remember our freshman year, that little team meeting we had? And there was one guy, I'm not going to say who it was, but they were like, say something different about yourself as opposed to everybody else.
Yeah.
And he looks around, and he's like, I'm the only 5-star in this room. And we're like, dude, get the out of here, man. Are you kidding me?
I wanted to be like, hey, I'm the only 2-star in this room.
That was like, dude.
Era?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy for sure, man.
Yeah.
Did he pan out though? I don't want you to name drop him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ended up being a pretty high draft pick. Played in the NFL for a couple of years. I mean, he was an impact player. I mean, he was one of the guys that just came in with arrogance. Like, he was confident, but he was like arrogant. And I think like he got humbled a little bit his freshman, sophomore year, and then like he came back down to earth and ended up being one of our buddies. So like, you know, it takes growing up, right? Which also I want to talk a little bit about is like, we weren't recruited in the NIL era. Obviously, it's all you know from college aspect, but stepping in, like kind of what you thought NIL was going to be as a freshman versus what it turned into as a junior in your last year.
Yes, I was kind of like, I started like pre-NIL and like post-NIL, but like my freshman year was like NIL just came out, so it wasn't really like how it is now. So it was really more like how it started off to be like as far as like endorsements and like you play good field, you get endorsements off the field, a couple $100, $1,000 here, but I remember like the rawness of how college football was, and I don't think it's the same type of game how it was back then. Like I remember like freshman year, nobody really had any cars, so we all had a carpool.
Yeah,
we all like walk on campus. So it was like the purity of college, like starting off as a freshman and building your way up. I think that's kind of gone now in today's game. Like dudes come in, they got like Corvettes or they got like whatever car they want. So it's like there's nothing wrong with that. That's still a blessing in its own way, but it's crazy now, man. Looking back, it's insane. Like we were thinking like NIL was like maybe getting like a local food chain spot or something.
Yeah.
Dude, no,
Bernie's endorsed.
we had to pay for everything, man. Me and him had to ride mopeds, and we were hopping in each other's back
Yeah.
of the truck beds. I mean, that's kind of cool that he mentioned that though. Like, you don't hear many kids, his age that just absolutely crush the combine that says the purity of college football, man. That's pretty impressive that you
Yeah.
mentioned
I
that.
mean, I thought I was the richest kid in the world in college. My parents I had like $175 a month to live off of on my debit card. And then I got $47 a weekend was our weekend money.
Yep.
Dude, I thought I was the richest person in the world because, well, granted, like we kind of had many, and when you have success, like everybody wants to help you out. So like we started winning games and being the guys on campus. So we could go to bars and we'd get discounts, free, and stuff like that. We'd go to some restaurants, and it's, hey, give me a jersey at the beginning, and hey, you can eat here for the semester or whatever it was. Like we kind of had like that type of NIL stuff during our time. But I mean, dude, I thought I was rich, and like it was like $400 a month. I mean, now like inflation's the thing too. So like it's a whole different world now.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I remember like going into, so it kind of changed like my sophomore year, or the end of my freshman year. That's when like dudes was like kind of like on payroll or whatever. Like I was hearing like a lot of stories or whatever. I'm not sure what was going on, but it was crazy. It was like the Wild West. Dudes are transferring for money. Dudes are coming in, whatever. But I wasn't really sure what was really going on. But I just knew I was trying to get in on it. But it turns out now it's a whole different ball game with the what the revenue sharing. Like I remember coaches were like against NIL, and like they were kind of like looked down upon it, like, oh, we're not going to be this, you're not going to do that, NIL's not this. A lot of dudes kind of like either missed out on a chance to make some money, or they went and took their chances on getting some money. But now the revenue sharing is crazy. Like I think it's like the media or whatever, like, and it's in-house now, so the school directly pays you, and I'm not sure how many all the athletes are getting paid or percentage, but it's insane the money they're making.
It's going to be interesting because you also got to take it like Title IX, so men's and women's sport. There's got to be some sort of balance and all that, but it'll be interesting. And the cool part is like our university, obviously, Coach Tanner did a great job when he was AD. Jeremiah Donati now taking over, but there's a lot of really smart people in place that are planning for this. So I'm sure they have a plan in place.
Nick, did you ever consider transferring?
I was about to ask that.
We started talking about NIL. I was like, I mean, I'm sure you have a good year, especially your freshman year.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure you had some people.
It was after my freshman year when I had the All-American season. It was a bunch of schools trying to come reach out and get me. A lot of schools in the SEC, I won't really name none, but most of the schools in the SEC, a lot of schools in the Big Ten, like a lot of schools were trying to reach out to come get me, even after my sophomore year. So it was really tempting to go, but at the same time, I just knew like it just wasn't really worth it. Like it was just like me leaving home. My house was like minutes away. It just ain't really feel right because like legacy was kind of big to me. Like I want to be one of those legends to walk through, come back on campus. Everybody kind of remembers me. I got a good name, good in the city. So like I was tempted, but it just never came through. It wasn't in my heart to do it. So I just ended up staying all 3 years, and it kind of paid off. Looking back, I'm glad I never transferred because like the love.
No shit, it paid off.
Yeah, the love you get in the city, it's a different type of love at Carolina, man. It's a different type of love. The fans are diehard fans, and so I'm glad I stayed and didn't go through with that. So
yeah, I mean, did you grow up going to like South Carolina Sporting? Did you go to football games, basketball games, that type of stuff?
No. When I was growing up, I was really just it was kind of different age. So I was like going outside and just playing. I never like really wasn't really interested in like going to watch games. I just like playing.
Yeah, no, but obviously you knew the Clemson Carolina rivalry, which I have to tap into here a little bit. Is like, tell us this Clemson on the clock story of your recruiting process.
Yeah, everybody always bring that up. That's one of my all-time favorite memories, all-time favorite quotes. But I don't know what intrigued me to say that. And looking back, I wasn't media trained or nothing, so it was like all raw from the heart. And it was just like I just wanted to spark the rivalry back up because a lot of Clemson fans, they are the arrogant, a little snobby,
talking a lot of shit.
Yeah. So on my signing day, no one told me to say that. It was just like I don't know. It was Dabo didn't really come down to recruit me. He was, he thought he was too good for everybody. But I just want to spark the rivalry back up. And I was like, right after I signed my papers, they asked me what's one message to the Gamecock community. I was like, man, Clemson on the clock. And that year, I got a lot of smack from that though. I got a lot of trash talk from the fans. That was my first time really receiving hate on Twitter. But we backed it up as a team that year.
Yep.
This streak knocked them off, so I felt good.
Yeah, or I feel like you backed it up every single time that you were like, there was a chance for Nick E to back it up. You always did, and I know you're going to follow through and do that during your hopefully 10, 12, 15-year career in the NFL. Talk about, I mean, you have a lot of big moments in Carolina, but talk about some of your favorite individual moments, and then also like favorite team moments.
Man, this team, looking back, college is like a special experience. I'm pretty sure you guys have got some crazy stories, but college is such a special place, and like it's where you meet a bunch of special dudes and like really build a brotherhood, a lot of friendships. But man, I remember my freshman year, and I don't know if you remember this, Pat. I'm not sure if you were out there, but it was like the second scrimmage we had on the Carolina field, maybe the first or the second. But I remember I was in the post playing safety. And I was running down to the sideline on the offensive side. So it was the right side where the home side is. And I was running out on the sideline looking to make a tackle on Turbo, Dante Miller.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, he hit me with one of those Patrick Mahomes fake go out of bounds.
Come back shoulder.
Yeah, late hit. So I was kind of like, I stood up on him and he kind of like put me on my back, but I wasn't really expecting it. And I remember the whole offensive sideline was like, oh, yeah, you're not ready for this. Oh, this what college is. Going crazy. And that just lit a fire in me. And I never, like, to this day, I never really wanted vengeance on somebody so bad. For like, it was like, that was like the first play. For like 2 plays later, they called the same defensive call. We're in a man high. So I was in the post. And it was like, I guess they threw a screen to Turbo. And I came out from the post and I was
missile
like a missile coming on the right of the, come to the right sideline, and I hit him so hard. I hit him into the kicker's net. Like, where the kickers have their net? I hit him all the way into the kicker's net, and I stood over top of him, and I was talking smack, and I was like, don't you ever. And that's like, that was one of my best moments. I got to find that play on film because it's a crazy play. But after that, I kind of got respect to the older guys, and that's my favorite moment. So
that'll do it when you bust a 4th-year or 5th-year senior in the mouth. When he gets a shot on you, you don't back down, and then you come in and you answer the bell. It's badass. Yeah. That's a great story.
Crazy moment. Crazy on film. And then Coach Beamer showed it on film. They're like the next day, and it was just the funniest moment. So
talk about the secondary dynamic during your time there. Obviously, you and DQ, you played with Cam a year, OD the whole time, Jalen Kilgore. Like, talk about the dynamic of like what it takes to trust, what T. Gray's impact. I mean, this is a big, deep question, but like how did that secondary room, how did y'all all gel and fit? And how was T. Gray's impact?
I'll say probably the 3 years I've been in South Carolina, the DB room always had like the best chemistry on the team. Like, we were really like tight, really, really cool, really cool. Everybody was cool together. We all hung out outside of the practice field after games or whatever. So we were really tight, but that kind of just showed, like, it just showed on the field and it showed in practice. Like, we just had the best chemistry. And I remember my first year, we had a lot of dudes in our DB room. We had Cam Smith, Darius Rush, RJ, me as a freshman, DQ as a freshman, Marcellus Dial, OD as a backup. We had a lot of dudes in that DB room, so it was a different dynamic. And I remember Cam was like the dude in our room, and I remember Cam just had like a fire. He's super competitive about him, so I kind of that's where I got my competitiveness from too. Like, during practice, like Cam used to talk smack during practice, go crazy, lock dudes.
It was almost a problem. Like, periods had to be like, stop. It's like, Cam, stop. Like, you're so disruptive.
Yeah, Cam was a different dude though, man. I love watching Cam practice and stuff. Love watching him play, but that kind of just was the type of DB room we had. And Coach Gray, Coach Gray, we seen Coach Gray break a couple of headsets, and he's real passionate. So that's just a testament to that. Like, we're all super close, and I love the DB room. Loved our chemistry. Loved our connection all 3 years. So
yeah. All right. Talk about relationships with guys outside of your position group. Steve and I have talked a lot about Like it's really easy to hang out with guys in your position group or just your roommates. Like I said, the first day you walked in the building, you kind of had a gel aura about you that guys flocked to. Talk about some other guys that you really connected with that wouldn't necessarily be like day ones right when you get in the building.
Mm-hmm. And this I'll say this last year as a team, like genuinely, this is like the most connected and the most chemistry we ever had. And it was like before the season started, before we started winning any games, and it was just weird because I guess it was like the feeling was like everyone's last year. We got a bunch of older guys who were like bound to go to the NFL or get a chance, get a shot. A lot of dudes last season. Me, I was expecting to leave early, so like you really were connected. And the group I really got connected the most with will probably say the defensive line, and it paid off a lot. It paid off because they're helping us, we're helping them. So the defensive line, we really got strong together. Like I remember me and TJ. Oh my God, TJ Sanders. TJ Sanders is like one of the most craziest, funniest dudes you'll ever meet. Like
he's wild.
He'll say whatever he'll say whatever is on his mind, but I love him for that. So we got really close and competitive. Kyle Kennard, he was on my road. Dylan Stewart, he was a freshman, but like real close to him. Used to go out to eat dinner all the time with him. Tonka Hemingway, a lot of dudes. Boogie Huntley, me and Boog are like close friends. We get on the phone and talk all the time, even now. So I got real close to that defensive line room, man. They're guys.
Well, that's a group that really gels with you because, like, that's an older group that has a lot of experience, a lot of high end talent. Mm-hmm. They're very competitive. We talked with TJ and he talked about how internally they had like mini bets going on who can get to the quarterback, kind of stuff like that. But talk about the guy that led that group in Travian Robertson. He was in Stephen and I's recruiting class during our time. Yep. He's a dude. He has a freaking heart of a champion. He's about all the right stuff, but he ain't afraid of confrontation either. Like he will get after your ass if it's time to get after your ass.
T-Rob's solid, man. He a scary dude. I'm not gonna lie. He's about 6'6". I don't know how much he weighs, but he's a scary dude. He has a mean mug as a face. But T-Rob, he mean business though. And when T-Rob came in, man, he changed that whole defensive line's mindset. They were all real talented, but like he got the most out of those guys, and he got the most out of me too. Even though he wasn't my own personal coach, like he used to come up to me during games and be like, "Hey, we need you, Seven," or like, "Hey, turn up, we need you." So like he used to get me going. The belief he had in me made me play a little bit harder because like I know he was one of those dudes back in the day, so he seen the same type of talent, or like he seen me as one of those guys, So T-Rob a great coach, man. He a great person, and he got the most out of our defense and our D line too. So.
Yeah, I agree. All right, tell us your favorites. Do you have any good Shane Beamer stories? Like he's very animated and he's very passionate. So I'm sure you can go on and on about him, but give us just a good one for the fans to kind of get a glimpse in on who Shane Beamer is.
Yeah, man. I'll probably say Coach Beamer, man. He's a great dude. Great personality. He's a great coach. People's coach, players coach, whatever you call it. But I got a bunch of stories about Coach Beamer, man. Me and him got a good relationship, good connection. I remember one time during practice, I think it was towards the end of my sophomore year, so it was towards the end of that 2023 year. And it was just like, when Coach Beamer gets that edge about him, he gets that little face he makes, and he gets that little strong little edge. So it was a tough season. We were 5-7. For the whole that season, so it was like towards the end of the season where like a lot of dudes were frustrated and a lot of things were like inside of them, and practice was wicked, man. And I remember Coach Beamer like just let it fly. Like dudes were like taking shots at each other, and like we were all just like making like almost like semi brawls. Like we were fighting at practice a little bit, but we were all frustrated because like the type of season we're having. So like he just kind of let it fly, and like I never seen him so amped up. And like I remember like. At the end of the season, he just told us, like, man, I can't wait till next season. I can't wait till, I'm not sure, ODU. Like, ODU was on the clock, and we just played our last game, and dudes are kind of, like, thinking about something else. So, Coach Beamer, he gets fired up a lot, man. So, a lot of different stories I could tell, but that was my one.
Well, I think that's a huge part of his success and kind of how the team dynamic works, too. Like I could tell the connectivity of the team watching you guys out there this past year. I could tell the passion. I mean, you guys play with a passion that your head coach and your coordinators and even your position coach play with. So, I mean, that completely makes sense.
Hey, y'all. Hope you're enjoying the episode of Tailgate Talks with DeMarco and Garcia. Now a quick segment from our sponsors.
Underdog Fantasy. This one's pretty easy, right? This one is just directly teed up.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it for sure.
Nikki, is he drafted higher or lower than, let's go smack dab in the middle of the first, 16?
I mean, it's got to be lower, right? After that combine performance, I mean, how would you not take him lower than that?
Yeah, there's not many people that accomplish what he accomplished at the combine and then have kind of his resume through 3 years at Carolina. So no, I agree with you. I think he is definitely going to go lower than pick 16 and in the combine coming up here, and we got a couple months to figure that out. So, but if you want to find that, make sure you download Underdog Fantasy. Use the code Tailgate for a $1,000 deposit bonus.
Listen up, Gamecock Nation. Meet your new favorite streamer, Deputy Smitty. A former police officer and diehard South Carolina Gamecock fan, Deputy Smitty brings action-packed content to life every night on Twitch starting at 9:30 p.m. Connect with him on social media by searching Deputy Smitty and join his growing community on Discord at discord.gg/Deputy Smitty. So grab a drink and catch the thrills, laughs, and plenty of Gamecock pride in every stream.
What's up, Gamecock fans? When you're getting ready to cheer on the Garnet and Black, get fired up with White Hot Cinnamon Whiskey out of Hollow Creek Distillery. With only 3 all-natural ingredients and 1/3 less sugar than other similar brands, is sure to be a touchdown at your next tailgate. Ask for White Hot Cinnamon Whiskey at your favorite spirits provider, and be sure to visit their award-winning Hollow Creek Distillery over in Leesville, South Carolina. Go Gamecocks.
All right. This should have been pick 6 against LSU.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah,
it makes me sick.
that was a tough one, bro. That was a tough one, Matt. Going into that game, we weren't really sure like what was gonna happen. Like we just beat the brakes off of Kentucky, as usual. But going to the LSU college game day came down, so it was like the atmosphere was crazy. That's probably one of the craziest games I played in, and it was during the day. It wasn't even a night game. I felt like the fans were coming out the stands, like almost like it was compact in that game, the biggest and loudest Gamecock walk. So like I knew that game was gonna be special, man. So it was a battle. It was a battle fought. And like those early games where dudes are still filling out football and trying to feel like outfield things feels. That's really what it was. Like all our plays were just brand new. We're still doing things. So that game was crazy. So when I caught that interception in like crunch time, we needed that touchdown to seal the game. Oh my God, man! I'm still gonna go down in history, but that one play probably been like one of the greatest plays ever. Cause like that was a crazy play right there. 100-yard pick.
I was on the sideline.
That was unbelievable.
Probably you picked it off at probably like the 8 or 9, maybe 10. Like you were inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
I was at like the 25, right there on that sideline. As soon as you picked it off, and you kind of like veered in, and you went back to the sideline to get back outside and take the sideline. And I was like, he gone. Ain't nobody catching that, dude.
Yeah. Once I caught that ball, I knew I was gone. Like I had people thought I was going to take a knee, stay in the end zone. I caught it in the end zone. Like once I caught it, made sure my feet were in bounds, and I looked up, I knew I knew it was over.
He was out.
It was gone. It was over with. But that flag, man, to this day, like I didn't sleep that night. I'll be honest. I didn't.
Yeah. Which penalty was that? Was that
that was the Kennard?
Yeah,
the roughing the passer or whatever.
The pushing of the quarterback, the 2-hand like bump of the quarterback.
Nick, you want to talk about the purity of college football? I used to get my ass rocked. I've been now. You can't even touch these guys these days without. Literally, you can't even touch them without getting the flag. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. And then having it change the outcome of the game, the outcome of the season. I mean, you guys win that game, you're probably in the playoffs. I mean, you're definitely in the playoffs.
I mean you win that game, and then obviously Alabama a couple weeks later was another one that was like, oh my gosh, it's at our fingertips. But like, you win the LSU game, you kind of have a little more confidence too. I mean, we outplayed Alabama, in my opinion, just kind of like barely slipped away. And you always wonder if you have the LSU in the bag, like, does that give you that extra boost of confidence to roll in and just handle business at Alabama? But I mean, yeah, because you're in the playoff, and we were one of the most dangerous teams the last
no doubt
teams of the season. I mean, we were top 5 team in the country at that point.
Yeah, I think the committee should let us in that one. I think the fans would want to see it. I think that would have been a lot of fun to see a team like, not taking anything away from SMU or Indiana, but like us being in the playoffs and like, come on,
Dude, that. Like, you guys, like, take everything away from those guys, man. That was bullshit.
yeah, man, that was crazy though. And that Clemson game was so hyped up. That
Yeah.
was
Oh, I
the
know.
craziest. That was like, oh my god, the craziest, most hyped up Clemson game of all time. Like whoever wins this game is gonna go to the playoffs. And like after we won that game, we thought we were gonna go to the playoffs, but we
I know.
yeah.
Nick, I wanted to ask you, man, who's the hardest quarterback or hardest offense that you played against over the course of your 3 years?
Man, played a lot of dudes. I'll probably say Tennessee always has a pretty weird offense. They kind of like force you to like really like their front seven against your front seven, their receivers versus your defensive backs. They're wide split. So like Tennessee has a weird, pretty cool offense. I remember like particular dudes, like it wasn't really any offenses that were really crazy, but like running back from Texas A&M, Devin A-Chain, he was a dude, probably the best running back I've ever
Still
played.
is.
Yes, he can stop on a dime, and he's so twitchy. Anthony Richardson, I played in my freshman year. I had played a lot of different dudes, but in the SEC, it's a lot of dudes you're gonna see. I'm pretty sure you guys played a lot of different dudes in the SEC too, but you know how it is, man.
Yeah.
Playing every week, so
Well, I mean, it's the best. It's the best conference by far. You know,
it is.
from
Nothing
top
like
to bottom. Yeah.
nothing like it.
I mean, it prepares you for the next level, man. I mean, you see guys. I don't know who it was, but somebody said that the SEC was harder than his first year in the NFL. I forgot who said that, but I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a sense, like you're surrounded, like if you're at a maybe not a top tier SEC school, like you don't have like crazy talent around them. When you get to the next level, you got all dudes around you. Which like, dude, like going in y'all's defense this past year was like unreal. I mean, watch what Demetrius Knight just did at the combine on top of his play. But I think the coolest part about it was like, like you had accolades, some other guys had accolades, but it was kind of like like you guys didn't have crazy hype going into the season. It wasn't like South Carolina's defense was going to be a top 5 defense in college football going into the year. You kind of just like went in and were like, all right, cool. Nobody's talking about us. Let's make them talk about us.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole motto. That's what our motto was as a team, and really for our defense. Because like, I'm not sure how it got put together, but if you really look back on it, like we just got a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, and then we added like a couple pieces from the transfer portal. We added Kyle Kennard, we added Demetrius Knight, and so it's like, look, how can we not be good? Like, so we had no clue what it was gonna look like, but we knew it was coming together. So like doing the scrimmages versus our offense, it was like, dude, we got some dudes, I'm back there. We got DQ, OD, for our D line. We got TJ, Tonka, Boogie, Kyle Kennard. We didn't really know what we were gonna get out of him, but he showed up big time for the season. And Dylan Stewart, the young freshman, like, man, like watching him in practice was insane. It was like, there's no way we're not good. Linebackers, we got Debo Williams, Bam Martin Scott, Demetrius Knight. We're just too deep and too loaded. So I think that Kentucky game, when we like demolished them, that's when we knew like we got some dudes. We just gotta show up every game. So no, I used to argue with Rob a little bit, like who has the better defense from like, I'm not sure when he like maybe the 2013 year or not, but we used to argue back and forth about who
he did say that.
Yeah, I mean
he did mention that. We had him on the podcast, and he said that he's like, yeah, these guys think they have a better defense. And I forgot what year was it? Was it 2010?
2010 or 2011?
2011.
I mean, I shit you not, Nick. We had like the defense in 2011, or 2010, my senior year, when we won the SEC East. I think 9 or 10 of the 11 starters on the defense played at the NFL for like 3 or 4 years. I mean, we had some dudes. I mean, like Melvin Ingram was a first rounder. Stephon Gilmore was a first rounder. D. Stu was like a 5th rounder. Devin Taylor was a 4th rounder. Cliff was a 6th, 7th. Travian was 6th.
Culliver.
Chris Culliver was a 2nd. TJ Schweringer was a 2nd. Devontae Holloman was a 4th. So I mean, it would be pretty cool to see like a side by side.
That actually would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But I think y'all may have a slight edge. But I think we just did it. We made it look better. Like we did it more flashy. We had a little bit more swag.
Dude, I would argue what you guys did on a defensive front. I mean, because you got to think like Lenoris like turned into a beast, but like it didn't start out like we had him on like midway through the season as he was kind of like, you know, you saw peaks of like greatness, and then it dipped a little bit. You kind of saw the wave, and then like the last 5 games it was like, whew, like confidence is an MFer, and he really caught waves. But like you guys helped carry him and gave him the confidence to go out and play his game because he knew he had you guys.
Yeah, man. But practice is probably the funnest part, man. Like when we got going offensively and defensively, like we didn't really do a lot of ones on ones, but when we did, man, there's a lot of competing. Like that's probably my favorite thing about just being at Carolina. Like the practices were always fun. We always had dudes, and so we kind of his growth and development was like fun to see because like we always knew he had the potential, and I'm pretty sure like he just knew like he was that guy. But as a freshman, it was his first year playing at like starting really playing. So like we didn't really know what to expect, but we knew we had it in him. So like practice, we did get him ready for practice. Like we used to when we had a chance, we used to talk trash to him. We couldn't really hit the quarterback, but talk trash to him, try to pick him off.
Quarterback. He's like he's an avatar too, just like you. Like,
yeah. He's a different dude for sure, but like we did get him ready for the SEC. He was seeing the best in practice, so it made it kind of easy for him in game. And once he got it, man. And to this day, I think if we would have seen him in the playoffs with our defense, and you know, I think it would have been a whole different thing for us. So
I think a whole different playoff outcome. I mean, really.
Playoff Lenore's, playoff me, playoff our defense. Man, it would have been just everybody's attributes just go up 10 or go. So
100%. Nick, who do you kind of like model your game off like out of?
I think I kind of got like my own play style, but I see
like who'd you watch growing up? Like who was your favorite player type deal?
I'll say Cam Chancellor. Just watching him, man, the enforcer that leads in the boot defense. It was just fun. It was just fun watching him.
Your freshman year, I brought that up in the staff meetings a few times of like, this dude comes down in the box and like makes a statement. And then you can also you also match up really well against tight ends, slot receivers, running backs out of the backfield. Like, I played against Cam for 6 years when I was in Atlanta and early on in Buffalo. And like, I could sense your game type just like him. And I fully believe that you're going to go do shit like that here at the next level here in the next couple months. All right. So on the verge of the next level, I mean, as a child, like I knew you watched football growing up and I knew you loved the game, but like everything in your mind was, man, I can't wait to play professional football at a young age. Right. I mean, that's all of our dreams as lovers of football. So that it's becoming a reality. How excited are you?
I'm super excited, man. You know, like the NFL is a whole different ball game. Like college is fun, but like being that dude in the NFL, that's a whole different ball game, and it's a different type of challenge. So like, I wouldn't say I kind of got tired of college, but like it was kind of like, I don't want to say this to sound like arrogant or cocky, but it was kind of like college was getting a little too easy, repetitive. Like kind of like was getting the hang of it in a blessed way. Like thank God he gave me that opportunity to get the hang of college. So like I went to another challenge in my life. So I'm really excited for the NFL. Really excited to go show my talents and see how I match up with those dudes, see how I match up with the best in the world. So, and I'm ready for it. You got to climb the totem pole again, start from the bottom, make my way back up to the top, become all pro, Hall of Fame maybe. So
you go in with the same attitude you took when you came into Carolina with like a self-confidence, and just be who you are, man. And like the sky's the limit. You're like, I believe wholeheartedly that you're going to go and make a lot of impact on fans, on your teammates, on people all around, because just the person that you are.
Nick, are they wanting to have you at play? What position exactly are they seeing you as?
When I talked to some teams, I think only one team mentioned like dime linebacker or something, but I don't know. All the teams I've talked to, and I had like 18 or 19 formal interviews. So it was kind of like they see me as a safety. So
Mhm.
wherever I fall in the league, I'm not against playing linebacker, but I think I just have too much talent and too much.
100%. I was just curious if with your speed and your like length and your range, I was wondering if they were going to put you like a boundary corner or
Yeah,
field corner, something like that. But
yeah.
nobody's
You
ever
got-
say anything.
We're sitting here talking to Cam Chancellor right now. That Joker's going to be a box safety, but can also play middle of the field safety. I mean, he gets in the right system, and you let him enforce the way he wants to enforce. And then with your versatility of like in some packages, being able to put you down in the box if you need to, kind of free yourself up because you can lock down an X. I mean, you can lock down anybody from a receiving standpoint.
Yeah. I'm really excited. Wherever team I go to, whoever GM trusts in me and drafts me, hopefully the DC finds a way to scheme me up, and because I'm a different dude, with a good DC, good defense. A lot of good things will come out from that. So
I've shot text to Brandon being the GM in Buffalo, the GM in Atlanta, Terry Fontaine, and Dan Morgan with the Panthers, and put in a good word for you. So I'll take a commission of your signing bonus when it's all said and done. Appreciate it.
I got you 0.5%, man.
Hey, just come take me to your favorite restaurant in Columbia when you're back in town.
We get Halls.
Let's go to Halls. I'm in. I ain't a cheap date though.
You come too, Steve.
I definitely ain't cheap. Drink as much bourbon as they got there.
Going into combine training, what you did was incredible. You knew you were going to do it. What were the areas of improvement that you saw kind of the biggest uptick during your 2 or 3 months of training?
I'll probably say like my just gaining strength in like areas I usually wouldn't really work on. Like it was like single leg strength. I got a lot of time to work on that. My glute strength, my hip strength. Like I'm a pretty strong dude. So like going into combine training, I knew what I was gonna test. Like if I didn't do no testing for the combine and I just jumped, I just sat at home and I just jumped straight out there, I would have jumped a minimum 40-inch, 41-inch vertical, like off the rip. If I didn't go training, I probably jumped like 11 broad or 11.2. Probably would have ran like a 4.4. So going into training, I knew what my potential was. So I just want to get the maximize my.
You unlocked that stuff. No, that's cool.
Yeah. Was a lot of it more like technique, you think?
I think it was just increasing like my power and my technique, also like knowing how to get the most out of this stuff, and knowing like, okay, like I know my legs are a little bit weaker, so like let me strengthen my legs so I can get the most out of my power from my legs and my explosiveness. So like that's really what it was. Like I knew going into like what I was gonna do. It was just about maximizing everything. So
are you gonna do anything at the pro day?
I was still deciding on that. If I was to do anything, it would probably be just position drills because I didn't really combine, so I want a lot of scouts to see how well I can move, because I can move just like a corner in my back pedals, my flips, my turns, and how I point the ball well. So I want them to see that too. So it just amazes them even more.
I mean, you've always been a big game. Like opportunity comes, you're going to make the play. Like, how did you handle the pressure of at the combine? I mean, this is the pinnacle. This is the biggest moment that you wanted as a kid to get here. How did you kind of channel the nervousness, the pressure, and kind of spirit in the positive direction?
Again, I got there on Monday as a player early arrival, and he tested on Friday. So like the stress levels of like just sitting in your room and doing the meetings.
Yeah.
It was you had to be a dude for it mentally. So mentally, I was mentally prepared for it, but it was really hard because like you're stressed out, you're a little tired, you're meeting with teams from like 7 p.m. to like 11:30 p.m. and you got to wake up at 6. So going into Friday, I just knew trusting in God. I knew what I was gonna do. So like I just trusted him and like focused on like getting the job done that day, because like some dudes probably folded under the pressure. Like it's a lot of stress, especially like when you're out there competing, out there running. Like everything's real quiet, and it's like you only get one chance at the combine. Like it goes flat, so only get one shot. So it's like make the most of your opportunity. I'm an ops type of dude, so I made the most of my opportunity.
Yeah, I would say you did.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy though, man. It's a tense environment, but it's like I like the challenge though. I like a little challenge. I like when the odds are against me. I got to make something work or something like that. It kind of makes me like go a little bit harder. Like let me show these dudes. So
Did any of the coaches or GMs or any of those guys that are kind of scouting you or whatever, any of them ask any funny questions or interesting questions?
Yeah, like every interview I had, not every interview, but every interview I had, I was kind of like talking my talk. They were asking like, "What am I gonna run?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go 4.3." A lot of them like were surprised or like shocked, but interviews are pretty cool. Man, that was probably my favorite part of the combine. I like talking to teams. I like talking pretty funny guys. So there was one team they had asked me it was like something about if one of the vets on the NFL team asked you to go get fried chicken before the game, would you go do it? And I was like, nah, I wouldn't go do it. I wouldn't go get the chicken. That was like probably the weirdest question, but it was like, I guess they're trying to see like what type of dude I was. And I was like, I wouldn't go get the chicken, but I'll probably DoorDash it and bring it over, but I wouldn't go in my car and buy chicken for it. Like let you eat it. So, yeah.
I've heard some like weird questions of like, hey, if you're trapped in a cup, if you're like miniature and you're trapped in a cup, what would you want to be to somehow escape? Like you could somehow like escape, like weird stupid shit to make you like think weird outside the box.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was. It's like a bunch of mind games and stuff, but no, it was pretty cool to see that and like try to think through that. So yeah, the chicken thing was kind of like,
that's so funny, man. I mean, Coach Furr used to rip. Remember DL would go get to where do you go to Bojangles and get fried chicken?
Yeah,
and Coach Furr would absolutely lose his shit, lose his mind.
There was a guy that I played with in Buffalo. His name is I think his name was Trey Adams. He was an offensive lineman, not Trey Adams, Trey something. But they asked him if you could change anything about yourself. You guys might have seen this. If you could change anything about yourself, what would it be? And he ponders over it. He like,
oh yeah,
thinks about it, and he goes, "Bigger would be cool."
No, I did see that. We're talking about that like a couple months before. Somebody was talking about that at practice, and we're dying laughing, man. That's a response.
Oh, I mean, dude, he was hilarious. Like that was like who he was as a person all the time.
That was unbelievable response. Unbelievable response.
Dude, like I know you got a busy schedule. We appreciate you taking the time. I mean, as you know, Hayes never in the barn, so continue to grease it up. And I know you're gonna do big things here at Pro Day here in a couple weeks. And then I'm super excited to hear your name called during the draft. Whoever drafts you's getting an incredible person and a hell of a football player. So everything you did at Carolina, man, like Columbia born and raised, much respect. 2 former players, like you're one of our favorite guys to watch. So we'll be
no doubt
watching your success down the road.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, man. It's been an honor, man. I had to do this for my boy Pat. He was in the ops building. We forced him out. He had to get a different job.
Yeah, they ran me off.
Forced him out.
But nah, man, always blessed, honored, man. Looking forward to the NFL. Left a great mark in South Carolina. Hopefully those guys keep it going and keep building the foundation and the structure up. So,
yep, I'll start thinking of my order at Halls here next off season. I'll start brainstorming.
Gotcha.
All right, appreciate you, Nick. Best of luck, dude.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.